Hi friends, and welcome to Starry Hilder's off-grid homestead. Hello! You know, the number one, or one of the number one priorities on any homestead is going to be food production. That's right, we all know food production in our gardens is something that is going to give us independence, is going to break us from the grocery store, save us money, control our food source, and help us be self-sustainable, right? That's what we want. Now, the issue is, not all of us who want to create that self-sustainable homestead have a lot of property, right? We don't have 10 acres to grow food on. So, but, this is the awesome thing. There is still hope for all of you who don't have a lot of land. Say you live in an urban area. Say you have an apartment. You don't have a backyard. Or you do have a backyard, but you can't dig up you don't own it. You can't dig up the lawn, but you're limited for space. Say you're in the mountains like us, and the terrain is very steep and unrelenting. You got a lot of rock. You don't have a lot of places to put a garden spot. So you got to think outside the box. Well, this is what I'm here to share with you, because on our homestead, this Back to Eden garden isn't the only source of food that sustains us. No, we have learned how to think outside the box. We have learned how to garden upward and sideways and up there. You have to. You have to work with what you have. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to work with what you have to create a self-sustainable food source. So let's get started. For all you mathematically inclined people who like to think in terms of formulas, because there is a formula in order to figure out how much square feet or acreage you need in order to create a self-sustainable food source. 4,000 square feet per person is what you need. That's the standard formula. If you think about it in other terms, like 10 feet of garden space will create between 15 and 45 pounds of food. Now that's dependent on climate and weather and soil. But if you keep those formulas in the back of your mind, that will help you a little bit. Now, choosing garden methods and choosing different ways to implement your growing of your food is very, very important, because Back to Eden gardening, yes, the number one self-sustainable way to garden, hands down. You want to create that garden space first. But for us, after we created this garden space, we had to think outside the box, because how do you grow food on a slope? By terracing. And you saw some of the tires, the recycled tires that were cut into the earth here. We had about 5 or 6 tires that we actually terraced into the side of the slope. We used our cement blocks, and then not only did we grow squash, pumpkins, zucchinis, cantaloupe, whatever we could put in the tires, but we also brought in our perennials, like our asparagus plants. Planted them all over here. See, there. And we also brought in cherry trees, lots of cherry trees, fruit trees, and we planted the whole side. And we also implemented permaculture into that mix. That's what you want to do with a slope. If you got a slope, cut into it and use permaculture for erosion control, use recycled tires, use cement blocks, and you can create yourself a garden just like that. That will be self-sustainable and not only give you seasonal produce, but like us, we've got our fruit and our perennials in here. Another great alternative way to produce food is by using tires. Tires, yes. I got a whole video on tires, tire gardening coming up. So I'm not going to get into the particulars of it, but recycled tires are a great way to garden, because you can just fill them up with soil. You can put them down anywhere, and you can see our garden slid in, and Mr. Hilder rebuilt this side slope, and we're using it not only for erosion control, but we're using it for gardening. So we will fill up these tires with good, rich, back to Eden soil, and we will start growing our produce in there. So a great alternative, free source of gardening right there. Recycled tires. And you will see recycled tires used all over our homestead. Now let's talk about vertical gardening. And with vertical gardening, the number one, and I love this container, number one vertical container for gardening is the green stalk. As you can see, it was green, it's lush. I have grown carrots, celery, potatoes in my green stalk. I am getting this one ready for this spring. I have another one in a box ready to bring out. All you gotta do is fill it with soil. It's self-watering, and you stack it. It stacks up. Limited for space, green stalk. And we're limited for space here. So I've got 2 now, and I wish I had like 4 or 5. You just grow up. If you guys are interested in the green stalk, you contact me. There's a Starry code when you're buying, so you can get a good deal on them. But they're very reasonable, and if you are limited for space, go up. Do vertical gardening. And that's the container you want. And here's for those people who you think you're hopeless because you are living in an apartment and all you've got is a patio, or you're renting a home and you can't dig up the backyard. Containers. Container gardening is easy. We grow so many things in containers. I go to the recycling center probably once every 2 weeks, and I pick up just about anything that will hold soil because I run out of room. So I will fill all these containers up and grow tomatoes, peppers, not just my herbs or anything, but people, think outside the box. You can grow carrots in a container, garlic, everything in a container. So don't despair. Container gardening is very productive and can help sustain you. Method I want to talk about, and friends, don't take this the wrong way. Remember, the advice that I give is tried and true. We have done it all. We have failed and we have succeeded, and we are succeeding now. So when I talk about raised beds, I'm trying to give you the best, most practical advice possible. And I know there are a lot of people who have raised beds and they love them. So think about this. If you have room for a raised bed, you have room for a back to Eden garden. Look at your raised bed situation. You've got raised beds and you're walking around the raised beds, and you've got little paths around the raised beds. Remember, 1,000 square feet per person. Okay, that's what you need. So when you have space to walk around, you know, and a lot of people have a lot of space to walk around those raised beds, that could be planted with food. You could be utilizing the Back to Eden garden method and growing food. So bust out of those raised beds. Why are you walking around the raised beds when it could be used for food production? Because believe me, every square foot is going to count if you are going to sustain your family on your own food source. So really consider that, friends. It's so important. And again, hands down, the Back to Eden garden method is the most sustainable gardening method out there. Okay, friends, that was a Starry Hilder off-grid homestead little tip tutorial. So get implementing some of those alternative methods so that you too can homestead anywhere and grow your own food. All right, friends. See, we're saying goodbye. Say goodbye. God bless, and until next time.